Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Ray. Today's topic or today's video is going to be about how to stop caring about what other people think about us. So why do we really care about what other people think? But where does it originate? Where does it start, this caring about what other people think? I would say that the first beginning is from our ego, the ego that is a part of the separated self. In other words, we are no longer united. The more united we are, the more self-love we have, the more we accept that we are perfect as we are. But the less and the more divided we are, the more we're playing the game of separateness. The game of separateness meaning I am different from anybody else. And in other words, we are not all part of God's creation or God viewing himself in a different perspective. Every human being is pretty much the same. So when we look at life in that way, we are having a more separated or divided experience. And therefore we try to become more normalized. We try to become more social acceptable. We want to belong because we don't understand that we are already there. We're already belonging. And the deeper we are in the separateness and the lower we can say our love for ourselves, or the more decreased it is, the harder it is for us to see that everything is within the self. Everything, meaning the love for the self, the unconditional love that we have for ourselves makes us perfect. And the higher perspective and the higher vibration a person becomes, the more he accepts and loves himself. And then the vibration that he emanates, or he or she emanates, are actually a vibration of total acceptance and self-love, and then other people can notice. When you are afraid of someone or when you're trying to fulfill someone else's needs or someone else's expectation of you, they will feel it. It can be anything normal. It can be like an argument with your mother. Your mother expects you to do something, or your father expects you to do something, or be a certain type of person. If you're giving into that and you're not standing your ground, and I'm talking about not a small argument, but sort of like your father wants you to be a lawyer, you want to be something else, you want to be an artist. Or they think that you should eat more and you don't want to. Or they think that you're not healthy enough, stuff like that. When you're holding your ground, eventually they give in. We care that much because there's somebody else there that is somehow influencing our opinion, our external look, our sensation of what it means to be normal, in other words. Now, nobody really wants to be normal, but everybody wants to be normal. So both of these things exist simultaneously. In other words, we want to be considered normal, and yet we want to be ourselves. Being ourselves is not normal because there's 8 billion non-normal people on the planet incarnated right now. Everyone has their own opinion. So yes, there is something that is called the mainstream, something that is considered to be what most people do, but it's not necessarily the good thing or the good way of expressing ourselves. We understand that, and we are working to be more and more unique and individual. So we choose how we look by choosing our clothes, and we choose how we express ourselves. And some of us in the adolescent years, for example, become a little bit more eccentric because we care more about what other people think. So we try to generalize ourselves and become a part of a group. So you can be a jock, for example, when you're in school years, or you can be a weirdo or a freak, or you can be a computer geek and stuff like that. It's still a generalization. So it's still within the standards of what normal is. So the more we try to fulfill other people's demands or requests of us, whether it be our parents, expectations of our partners or our friends, or try to be normal, the less we feel ourselves, and the more we care about what other people think. Now, the more self-love we have for ourselves, the more appreciation we have for ourselves, and this happens, by the way, naturally when we mature and grow. So when we are adolescent or kids, we still don't have the character, we still don't know who we are, so we define ourselves according to what we see outside and what we feel like we need to belong to. And then when we mature, eventually we lose the grip of what society wants of us. Some of us become more and more normal and standard according to our job, according to the expectations, and then we don't really live a completely fulfilling life. Because we know that there's other things that we could have done, and we kind of like feel miserable on the day-to-day experience. Others become more themselves, and that's what I'm talking about. When we become more of our true self, and it doesn't mean that it's the ego want. In other words, it's not the expectation of what society wants us to be, like more materialistic or working 9-to-5 jobs or all these type of things, but we become more of our true expression, using the gifts that we were born with, because this is just like a plan, this is like a computer game. So our avatar came here with a certain gift, a certain way of thinking, and that's his tools, those are his gifts for this type of life. So the more we become ourselves, the more unconditional love we have towards ourselves, and then the less we think about what other people think about us. In other words, we understand that the more of the true self we are, or the true expression of the self wants to appear, the less we actually care about what other people think. But still, we have to find the proper balance. In other words, we are living in a society. For example, if I'm a nudist or it's called naturalist today, and I'm going to the beach, I'm not just going to take off my clothes because, there's certain kids there and there's certain people there that might educate their kids in a certain way, and that will kind of hurt the balance of society. So even though in my private or with my friends or when I go out in nature by myself, I will be completely naked, in other scenarios I will find the right balance with society. Meaning I do care about what they say or what they act or what they're going to do, but by myself I will act completely different, which is also okay, by the way. So I'm not caring about what they think about me, I'm more about trying to keep the peace between everyone. And this is just one example. There are many different examples, and everybody's sitting somewhere between the I want and have them and I belong and want to please other people. I, for example, I'm trying to please other people only to a certain degree. In other words, if something hurts my neutrality and it's a negative experience for me, I'm not going to go and do something about that. I'm going to just chill, I'm going to tell them and be honest about whatever it is that they're asking me to do or whatever it is that they're asking me to be. And I'm going to just tell them without fighting, okay? It's not about fighting anything, it's because you're finding windmills and nothing's going to happen. You're trying to catch raindrops, you're never going to catch them. It's about being your true self. It's about accepting how you really are and what you really want to be, but also understanding that there is a balance that needs to be kept with other people. When you're not fighting them and you're just expressing who you are, then you're true to yourself. And when you're true to yourself, you can cultivate an inner love. And when you start loving yourself much more, then you start accepting other people as they are. And then what we're actually creating is this like heaven on earth type of scenario. In my retreats, for example, when we're having a sharing circle, we know in advance that there is no judgment whatsoever. If one person is a vegetarian, or one person is a vegan, one person eats meat, or if one person comes from a different culture, or if one person doesn't know his English very well, everyone is unique and everyone is exactly where they're supposed to be, in their path and in that time for their path. So there's no judgment, and when there's no judgment, you don't really care about what other people think. In other words, when you come to ask a question or when you consult with someone, they will tell you their opinion without judging you, without making you feel bad for whatever it is that you did so far. In other words, total acceptance of the self. And there's one more method that I can tell you that is really, really good to use when we're working on caring less and less about what other people think about us and more about our self-love. And that's called the so what method. And it's pretty much saying, okay, something bad happened in our life. Someone said something about us at work. Our partner just had a big argument with us. Our sibling or our parents or somebody close to us from our family also pissed us off, doesn't accept us as we are, and we're already tired of it. So what? So what? There are bigger things that have happened in your life, big negative impacts that you had, troubles that you ran into, where your heart rate was 150 and you thought your whole life is going to end. Now it's time to understand to put all of these things in proportion. The so what method pretty much says, so what? It's going to pass. Instead of waiting a few days for it to pass, why not let it pass in an hour? Why not let it pass in a minute? Why not understand and connect to the energy of who you're going to be in a few days where it already passed, and ask future you to pass that vibration back into present you, because time is just an illusion. So to summarize, the more we care about what other people think, the more it means that we actually need to care about ourselves much more. Care about our self-love, acceptance, and sometimes it's hard for us to see, you know, the light in the end of the tunnel and understand that this is a path. But sometimes if you look now retroactively at your life, and you will see that there are certain points in your life where you're very disappointed, or you didn't know where you're going to, or you were in a bad relationship. But today everything kind of cleared up, and you can really understand why those things happened in the perfect synchronicity that they had to happen in order for you to become the person that you are today. So what you actually need to do, if you're suffering, is let go. Let go of the expectation that something will happen. You can visualize it, you can energize it, you can feel that it's coming, but let go of the expectation, because that's the only way that it's actually going to come. It's sort of like when we want a relationship and we're hanging on to that need so much, it's not going to happen. Only when we let it go, the solution will come. And sometimes the solution doesn't come from the mind or the subconscious. The solution is something that we couldn't even imagine, but it just appeared out of nowhere. And when we look back at our life, at those particular times, we can understand that we didn't have the right trust, and the right letting go, and the right acceptance, and the right self-love. But that today, we already know. We've tasted it a little bit of that solution. So we can actually duplicate it and understand that everything is going to be fine. And we need to learn how to love ourselves, see the positive things that we do have, because everybody has some talents, everybody has some beauty, everybody is perfect as they are, and focus on those things to create the higher vibration emanating from our heart. And then the universe can provide us with more and more reasons to care and love for ourselves. And don't forget, don't try to fight it. Don't try to fight other people's opinion on you. You are perfect, you are unique, you are amazing. And you should be exactly who you are, without trying to identifying with other normalities, without trying to pleasing other people's perception of what you should be. Be yourself. Thank you very much for watching me, my friends, and namaste, and I will see you in my next video.